This game has no reason to be this good. A mobile Sonic game that is fully 3D with fun levels and multiple playable characters? How is this real? The world looks so vibrant and the controls are so good. Now wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Oh man, I knew it was too good to be true. It's not a dream? Sonic Dream Team is surprisingly not a dream. For a mobile Sonic game, this is incredible. What the hell made Sega Hardlight cook like this? Oh. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, let's get this out of the way now. This game is produced by Apple, hence why it's an Apple Arcade exclusive. Is it a shame that this is locked on only Apple products? Of course it is, and I hope this gets released on other platforms in the future. Even though that's a pretty unlikely thing to happen. But hey, never say never, right? For this review, I'll be playing on the Apple 4K TV with an Xbox controller. I did try this game on my phone, and I'll just say right now, for touch controls, not bad. It runs smoothly too with my iPhone 13 Pro Max. But alright, we have a full new 3D Sonic game to talk about that pretty much returns to a traditional style of gameplay. There's no open world, and aesthetically, we're back to the world looking more imaginative versus being based in reality, which is something I've missed dearly. Very much like what they used to do back in the old Sonic games, like in Sonic Heroes. It looks like a dream world and... well, that's exactly what it is. We're literally in Eggman's dreams. So let's talk about the story. Using an ancient device called the Reverie, Eggman is able to use its power to make dreams a reality by using cream and cheese as a conduit. First off, holy shit, cream and cheese is back! What the fuck? Things don't go as planned though, as Eggman is put to sleep by the machine. Sonic and friends arrive to try to stop the doctor, but also fall victim to the machine. And by that I mean, they get put to sleep.
Ugh, oh. I've heard of falling asleep, but that was ridiculous.
Get it? Because he was put to sleep. And just like that, Sonic and friends are sent into Eggman's dreamscape, with the help of the Reverie's guardian named Ariam. Sonic must travel through the dreamscape, collect the dream orbs which power the Reverie, which allows Ariam to save Sonic's friends, and get through the twisted dreamscape created by Eggman in hopes for Ariam to ultimately reconnect with the Dream Core, and to put a stop to Eggman's plans. Did any of that make sense? The story this time around is very simple, and for what it is, I really like it. It's a nice change of pace from the seriousness we've been experiencing in both Forces and Frontiers, though I'm well aware that for a smaller game on this scale, a simple story is probably the go-to. Simple or not though, this story has a lot of returning characters, my favorite of which, of course, being Cream the Rabbit and Cheese, who has been MIA in a mainline Sonic game since Sonic Generations. Where the hell have you been? Shit, maybe this game really is a dream. Also, shout out to Michelle Ruff, the voice actor for Cream, who is still doing a decent job with her voice after like 12 years of this character not being able to talk ever. But you know who doesn't sound good?
Way to show up these amateurs. Mr. Knuckles!
Are you like 75? Yeah, I don't know what happened to Rouge here, but she does not sound like Rouge. I'm aware it's the same voice actor, so it must be a voice direction change that's out of her control, but yeah, not my favorite. It just doesn't sound like the character at all. Everyone else though sounds pretty good, and I don't have any complaints past that. Now let's get into the gameplay of Sonic Dream Team. Unlike Sonic Frontiers, this game returns to a more traditional Sonic platforming experience. There's no open world, but by no means does that mean this game is linear. There's multiple pathways and open areas to move around as you please, which is really nice. There's plenty of curves, pipes, grind rails, ramps, all of the things I have come to expect in my Sonic levels, and I'm happy to see them being designed like a proper playground with Sonic's moveset in mind. Speaking of movement, we return to what it was like in Adventure, and I want to say a mix of Heroes and the Boost games, We have our speed characters consisting of Sonic and Amy, our power characters being Knuckles and Rouge, and we have our flying characters being Tails and Cream the Rabbit. Which, by the way, not counting mobile and party games, this is the first time we get to play as Cream the Rabbit since the Sonic Riders games, which is just crazy to me. I know her and Cheese are Eggman's worst nightmare, but damn, keeping her locked away like this for this long is just ridiculous! In terms of abilities, all the characters are able to boost and homing attack, which is great and makes the pace of the game consistent no matter what character you choose. Now for the differences, starting with the speed characters. Unlike the others, Sonic and Amy are able to perform the air dash, which comes in handy quite a lot during platforming challenges, and they have the ability to perform the light speed dash, which is always great to see that move return, and returned properly this time. For the power characters, Knuckles and Rouge are able to glide and climb walls. Wall climbing in this works great, but it is a shame that it's treated the same way as they handled it in the Frontiers update. By that I mean you were only able to climb very specific walls in specific areas, and I really wish that wasn't the case. I covered this in my Frontiers videos, but I just love the freedom we had in the adventure games too much to take this over that. I truly hope we get more freedom with wall climbing in the future. But for what we have here, it is fine enough, and the levels are still fun to go through with them. Now that covers the climbing, but how's the gliding in this game? Yeah, how's the flying? Stop it right now. His turn radius is garbage! What the... Oh, what the fuck is that, dude? You're not a semi-truck! Yep, they did it again. They somehow made the gliding controls even worse than how they had it in Frontiers.
Wow, what an amazing day.
Now, at the time of this recording, Frontiers actually got an update to fix Knuckles' mid-air control, which is great. But that should tell you right there, if they went out of their way to fix the gliding controls in Frontiers, and this control is worse than what the gliding controls used to be in Frontiers, then there's no way around it. This is the worst gliding controls in the series. As mentioned in my initial reaction, the glide turn radius is insanely large, and it makes maneuvering to save yourself from bottomless pits a chore. But honestly, that's not even my main problem. The main problem I have is that these characters are goddamn bricks! You can only glide for a max of 2 seconds, and after that, you fall faster than my respect for Yuji Naka! Now, to be fair to the level design, it never really requires you to glide that far from platform to platform in this game. But that's not really a good excuse. The short distance still feels really limiting compared to what we used to have, and doesn't give you the freedom I used to feel in prior games. And that's what makes gliding around the levels so fun. So either way, in my opinion, this is a big downgrade. Finally, we have the flying characters. Like the glide, the flying in this does feel incredibly limited and a bit slow for my liking. The only way you could really get far in this is by constantly flying through these rings, which I don't hate the concept of. Past Sonic games have done this before. I just wish you could go longer before having to fly through one. Thankfully though, when your flight meter does run out, you don't drop like a rock like you did in Sonic 06, or like the gliding characters for that matter. The momentum carries over a bit and you gain extra distance if you're high enough. Now this is helpful for a number of reasons. While most of the time you're trying to simply get to the end of the level to reach the dream portal, you also have a number of missions to complete that requires you to really utilize all your character's abilities to explore. This game at times does require a certain amount of dream orbs to continue. So going back for extra missions is in your best interest, and the missions aren't all that bad, and I found them to be quite fun. And the missions are roughly always the same for each act of each stage. The different missions consist of reaching the dream portal, collecting the dream orb, reaching the checkpoints before the time runs out, collecting 6 dream orb shards, and reaching the dream portal and under a specific time limit. It's worth pointing out that you could switch to any character in the stage at any time, and it really helps in these missions to reach specific platforms and such. A single button to switch to a different character. Imagine that. There's a total of 8 orbs you can collect for each act of each stage once you have all the characters unlocked. On top of these missions, you can also collect all the red rings and these blue coins. I gotta be honest with you though, I don't know if it's worth going after all of those collectibles. From what I could tell from collecting all the red rings, all you unlock are these statues and, well, I guess that's cool, I would have much rather preferred some sort of in-game reward for collecting all the red rings and such. On the flip side of things though, I do want to point out just how much I like this game aesthetically. For a long time now, Sonic games have been basing their world in reality, and while I don't mind them doing that from time to time, I know the past games also did this, I would take the bright, whimsical atmosphere of this game any time of the week over the somewhat depressing atmosphere we've seen in Frontiers. A lot of this game's levels aesthetically take me back to the very early 3D Sonic games like Sonic Heroes. The first stage, Scrambled Shores, looks absolutely incredible, and guess what? It's not Green Hill! Dream Factory is also a nice looking stage. Though for some reason the entire time when I was playing through the stage, I could not stop thinking of Trix Yogurt. Does anyone else remember this? That shit was good! Nightmare Maze. This is also a sweet level with some pretty fun anti-gravity gimmicks that surprisingly, I didn't mind. And that's coming from someone who was never really a big fan of those type of gimmicks. My personal favorite though is Ego City. This stage looks absolutely incredible. It brings me right back to Grand Metropolis from Sonic Heroes mixed with Eggman Land from Sonic Unleashed. I just love how this looks, and damn do I wish more Sonic games had this much fun with its aesthetics. And that's the one thing that's a shame about all of this. This level looks so good, but it's stuck in a mobile game, so it's being held back. In terms of bosses, there's only 3 of them and they all go down pretty easily. Though I am well aware that considering the absolute hell we just experienced with the Frontiers update and the Superstars bosses, thank God this game didn't have any PS boss encounters! I do want to mention though that I am a huge fan of the third boss in this game though. A boss like this made by Sonic Team would force you to constantly quick step to move around. But in this game, you have full 3D controls at all times during this fight, and I love that. I'm sorry, I still have PTSD from how many times they have reused that damn format for bosses in modern Sonic. And like I mentioned, there is only 3 bosses in this game. There really isn't a final boss per se though, more so the final level acting like one big final challenge with all the characters. But the music in this section is an absolute banger. Wait for the drop, wait for the drop. Damn, that sounds good! Wish I could say that for all the tracks though. Nothing here is bad, but it can get repetitive pretty quickly as some missions will play the same songs over and over again. But overall, not a bad soundtrack. My favorite song in this game by far is the theme that plays at the very end. That song in particular is so good, and it was made by... oh, of course it was T-Lopes! The songs I like are always made by T-Lopes in these games now! The guy never misses! Just let him do the whole soundtrack for Superstars! Anyways, that was Sonic Dream Team, and I really liked this game. It's just fun. It's well designed and that's its strong suit. It makes it super playable and the controls for the characters and their abilities work really well for the levels. Minus the gliding controls. That's something that's always been a sour spot for 3D Sonic, as every game changes the formula with, most likely than not, poor results. It's a great relief that this game controls as well as it does. Between this game and Frontiers, I'm just really happy we have full control of Sonic again. That's something I am still not used to having. But what this game does offer that no other Sonic game has done well in a long time is giving us traditional Sonic levels designed with Sonic's moveset in mind, and I love it for that. Imagine if cyberspace stages in Frontiers were designed like these. Oh my god, that would have been a 10 out of 10 right there. Sega Hardlight has some talented people on their team, and I genuinely wouldn't mind them passing some notes and talents for Sonic Team on a main console release Sonic game. Obviously this game isn't perfect, nothing is, and I don't want Sonic Team to throw out the open world idea they have in Frontiers. But what this game does get right, it gets right very well, and it gets a high recommendation from me if you have an Apple device. And if Sonic Team were to ever have traditional Sonic levels integrated in an open world format, this is how you do it. Maybe with a little bit more hills, loops, corkscrews, and maybe some rolling physics. Ooh, chef's kiss. I'll say again, like I said in the beginning, it is a shame that this is only available on Apple devices, and I do wish that this can hopefully get another release in the future on other platforms. With that said, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you're a Sonic fan, you're at the right place. So please leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to join the Procrastination Nation, please subscribe for more content coming up very soon. happy holidays to everyone. This is Sam, signing out. See you later, procrastinators, and I'll see you guys in 2024.